Now we're going to look at a clip from Ken O'Keefe, and then Ken will be speaking to us for a few minutes. And after that, I will turn it over to Arash Daryabandari. We will be going into the panels, the first panel discussion dealing with geopolitics, and that will be, the panel discussion will be after Ken O'Keefe's speech. Thank you, everyone. You've been a wonderful audience, and I'm going to turn it over right now. We're going to look at a clip on Ken.
Ken O'Keefe, my guest today, was on that boat and involved in the violence. So was it worth it?
See, let me explain this first. In the West, we find it hard, if not impossible, to imagine that we might have a leadership that we respect, because we don't have leadership that we respect. They're not leaders, they're puppets, they're prostitutes. Presidents and prime ministers, parliamentarians and congressmen and senators, they're all puppets, with the rare exception. Absolute puppets. We don't respect them. We revile them. And even if we get conned into voting for the next branded, packaged president like Obama, you know, which cons so many people, oh, here we go. Oh, America is the greatest nation in the world. Look, we have a black president. Look, doesn't he have nice, bright, shiny teeth? And doesn't he speak so nicely? You know, we get conned, but then eventually we realize, oh, wait, it's the same old thing. Obama is nothing more than another prostitute bought and paid for by the banksters. They're all the same. And ultimately, even if we get conned for a little while, we then realize, oh, it's the same old thing. We don't respect our leadership. And we shouldn't, because there's nothing honorable about them. But that's not the way it is here, regardless of the lies that are being told. Iran has a supreme leader. And this is another thing. But they actually have religious leaders in Iran that you can respect, that live humble lives in modest accommodations and really practice what they preach. And this is kind of hard for people in the West to imagine, but they actually have leadership here that is almost universally respected.
I'll give you a great example of why I'm optimistic about things in America. You know, the President of the United States, traitor that he is actually a constitutional lawyer. He's actually trained at the highest levels of university in constitutional law. Do you know how obscene it is that somebody who is trained in constitutional law, giving himself the authority to execute anyone, anywhere, at any part of the planet with no jury, no trial, no conviction, no nothing? This man is a dictator who has assigned himself the right to execute anyone, including U.S. citizens. I am confident that at some point the American patriots, who seem to be in a bit of a coma and have been sleeping for a long time, are going to wake up soon and realize that while they took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, the President of the United States also took that oath and has breached it so badly that he should be arrested and charged with treason right now. And ultimately all of the sycophants in the U.S. Congress who passed things like the Patriot Act and the National Defense Authorization Act, because we were specifically told not to use any knives. Knives could be lethal.
But you know that there were those on board who had knives and used knives.
Really? Where's the proof? What, from Israel? They're lying. They lie incessantly.
Are the soldiers who were wounded lying?
They're telling the truth?
What about the soldiers who were wounded?
Those soldiers should be dead if we were terrorists. Why are they alive? Because we're not there to kill people.
You accept soldiers were shot?
No, I don't accept that.
So the soldier who says he showed...
Do you know how many soldiers died in the invasion of Gaza last year?
The point...
Do you know how they died?
I'm interviewing you. I'm interviewing you because you were involved in this.
Where's the video footage of shooting Israeli soldiers?
I'm interviewing you because you were involved.
I had a pistol in my hand. I had a 9mm pistol in my hand. I'm an ex-Marine. I've been in combat. I've served in a war situation. If I wanted to kill an Israeli soldier, I can guarantee you he would be dead right now.
So here in Tehran on the anniversary of the revolution, and I'm wondering to myself what Western government could get 2-3 million people out in the streets, not in protest, but in support of the revolution, of the government and the nation that comes from that revolution. It's just not possible. The hypocrisy of the West, it just doesn't even satisfy the reality. Hypocrisy, it's beyond hypocrisy. There is no government in the West that has this kind of support, and yet we have the nerve to threaten this nation and all of its people. Time to wake up.
I have put my life on the line many times over with no pay whatsoever, and you have the nerve to equate me with supporting dictatorships. You, as a servant of the empire, are nothing more than a prostitute intending to maintain a system of tyranny which is violating people left, right, and center all around the world. We have been in the business of supporting dictators like Saddam Hussein and so many other tin pot dictators around the world, and all the while you've been nothing more than a mouthpiece for this system of tyranny. Shame on you, shame on all like you, all the minions, the mainstream media that have perpetuated these lies ceaselessly.
Iran has the same enemy we do. Zionist, Jewish supremacists who run the United States government. That's an enemy. That's an enemy inside our gates, and it's the same enemy that's threatening Iran as well.
Thank you very, very much. You know, I never script anything. I think I must make some people nervous, surely, when they like control, because I always say what comes from the heart, and everything that you've seen that I've said there is the same way. I'm simply a human being to speak about a good thing of America. Here's a good thing. You know, in America, we grow up with the idea that we can be president someday, we can achieve any goal. It's not so common, I think, in many parts of the world that people believe they can achieve that. They may aspire for much more humble means, but not something so high as that. And for whatever reason, that has infected me, the idea that I can participate in the creation of a better world, something that we can actually feel good about to hand down to our children, something that we simply do not have right now, because it is absolutely impossible to ignore that we've been flirting with the end of the world for many decades now. Since we entered the nuclear age, we have flirted with the end of the world as we know it. We've come this close on numerous occasions, and we walk around as if we're in a coma, as if we don't understand that we're flirting with our very existence. How can this be seen as anything other than collective insanity? We are collectively insane. How can we do this? And how can we be so stupid and so fearful and so ignorant and so servile as to think that it's not up to us? We are so happy, or at least so cowardly, that we don't accept responsibility for our individual actions and collective actions. And this is exactly why we have tempted the end of the world as we know it, because we have passed that responsibility to someone else. So if we're Democrats, we blame the Republican Party. If we're vice versa, Tory labor, this whole charade, anything but taking responsibility for the world that we live in. And in the nuclear age, where is this going? It's very obvious to me where it's going. It's going to self-destruction. This is where we're going. But I don't want to talk on a negative note, I really don't. I see tremendous positive. I agree with you, my sir, I really do. We are going through a transition right now. And in this transition, there is tremendous turmoil. And the old powers, the ones that have been running this world roughshod, they are in the last gasps of their control. And they are exerting that control in more and more aggressive ways. We see this with the manifestation of ISIS, ISIL, IS, whatever the hell they want to call them tomorrow. This monstrosity, the latest manifestation of our Dr. Frankenstein capabilities, this monstrosity funded by our best friends and allies in Saudi Arabia and Qatar and all these other proxies with their puppets doing the bidding of the empire. This monstrosity that has the audacity to call itself Islamic when it is anything but Islamic is a disgusting reality and manifestation of our lack of responsibility. At the end of the day, I take responsibility for my actions, and I'm willing to pay the price in this messed up world of ours for speaking the truth. And I don't fear anything, quite frankly. I'm willing to accept whatever that price is, because I have watched so many people before me who have paid the ultimate price, and so many whose names we'll never know. So many people, good and decent people, who stood up against all odds and accepted certain death because they could not sit by and watch what is effectively a gang rape of the planet. We sit by and we watch a gang rape and we do nothing about it. Of course, in this room, we have a whole host of people who are doing something, and it is an honor and a privilege to be amongst people who care enough to do something. And I believe wholeheartedly that when we take full responsibility, and I believe that is the period we are in right now, it is the challenge of all times. It is an amazing time to be alive. And if we do everything that we're capable of, we will wrest away this power, and we will take hold, we'll take responsibility, and we will create a better world. And in conclusion, what I will say is that if there is one single thing that we must do, we will not have a better world unless we do this. And we could do this tomorrow if we really want to. We must take away the private control of the issuance of money. What we have is a situation in which a tiny, tiny minority, many of whom call themselves Jewish, although I think they're much more satanic and sadistic than anything else, but we have a tiny group of individuals who have been given the power to print and issue an infinite supply of money. Think about that for 1 second. An infinite supply of money. Imagine that you yourself had an infinite supply of money. If I had an infinite supply of money, what I would probably do is immediately, I want clean drinking water for everyone on this planet. I want it achievable tomorrow. I want it now. I want a house for everyone. Everyone will have a shelter over their head. I want proper, healthy food for everyone on this planet. I want everyone to have everything that they require to live a dignified life. We could do that tomorrow. We could take back the power of issuing money, and we could have that power tomorrow. But instead, we allow this tiny group of psychopaths to issue an infinite supply of money, and with that money, they buy everything and everyone that can be bought. And sadly, many of our brothers and sisters are all too cheap and can be bought for any amount of money. It's disgraceful. In the United States, these prostitutes probably can be bought for a few grand on a vote. And this will never change. Never, 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 unless we take back the control of the private issuance of money. It has to be in the hands of the people. It has to be transparent. And as real Christians, and every Muslim knows, usury is unacceptable. It is one of the greatest crimes, if not the greatest crime, that is committed, and it is causing all of this mayhem. If we take back the control of the issuance of money, no longer will these Saudi Arabian disgusting psychopaths, our little proxy state, be able to arm these psychopaths who are mercenaries. Mercenaries do not work for free, as one of my friends just said recently. Take away the money, and these psychopaths will no longer do the work that they do because they want the money. We take back control of the money, we can turn this world around tomorrow. If we do not do this, I don't care how many things we do, I'm telling you, they will outspend us 1 billion to 1, and they will beat us on every level. So I think that's a very optimistic thing. Focus on one simple matter, and every other problem you can solve very quickly. So thank you very, very much for inviting me. It is really an honor to be in Iran. I admire this country, this nation deeply. I look at you, I look at Putin in Russia, I look at many nations, but in particular Iran and Russia, and I say to myself, wow, what if we had 1/10 of the integrity in our government that this nation has? It is truly remarkable. The fact that you have stood face to face with this monstrosity, this empire, and survived and thrived, and will become even stronger no matter what they do to you, is a testament to the human will. Thank you very, very much for the invitation, the inspiration, and thank you to all of the other guests as well, because you also are a source of strength for me.